Hello, Mr. Lucas. How are you?
Great.
Yes, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Judy Den, Marketing Manager from Federation of Business Ambassador. Okay, so for the Federation of Business Ambassador, or you can call FBA, is an association with buying agent, sourcing consultant, licensed office of brands member all across India. During the difficult time when the market is low and export growth is not happening, FBA want to have the exporter connect with buying agent, sourcing consultant, licensed office of brand members. We are an integral part of export, especially in the labor incentive and organized sector of the industry. Our key category of operation cover like apparel, accessories, carpets, cosmetics, footwear, furnishings, furniture, gift, garden, and outdoor use product, hand tool, houseware, home decor, spa, packaged food, textile, and other similar labor-intensive product category.
Yeah. So basically, what Judy has been telling us is what is FBA. FBA is the body which is consisting of sourcing consultants, buying agents, liaison offices of overseas brands. I'll quickly give you an overview of as a presentation so you can understand it better. And then we will have the question and answers by Nisha. You can see in the presentation, it's called Federation of Buying Agents. Yes, it is an association, Pan-India association, which works with Federation with Buying Agents. Now we have changed our name to Buying Agent because we are the business ambassadors. When we are doing business and pitching for business to these people who are from different countries, primarily the North America, UK, Europe, Australia, developed nation economies, and they're coming to India or China or other countries to source products. So we are the service providers who are engaged by global brands and retailers to source all the categories which you mentioned. We have just mentioned few here right now. And now, what do we do? Why are we called business ambassadors? First of all, if you see all the five things: exposure, engagement, influence, advocate, impact. We create a potential audience to customers for manufacturers. When we are dealing with customers, we are not only pitching for our own business, but we are also pitching for business to exporters. And once we do that, it is a perfect audience for manufacturers because you might not be able to motivate the buyer why they should buy from you. But when they're dealing with us, they are not looking at one factory. They're looking at a person who will manage their buying in India, and it could be any other factory, it could be any other product. So it's a huge exposure which we create for a customer for the entire industry in India. Then we have engagement. When we are dealing with retail chain stores, we are representing them. We are as a service provider to a global brands, retailers, e-commerce sellers, wholesalers, or retail chain stores. We are pretty much scouting the entire country for best product and best factory. So, and we have to interact with manufacturers. We attend a lot of trade shows, which are majorly could be international trade fairs in India, could be domestic trade fairs, could be trade fairs specific to some products. So based on that, we are completely getting engaged with the manufacturing ecosystem of India and getting the best factories who can be making export quality product for you, or they must be making something for domestic market, but it's very much possible for to sell in export also. So that engagement brings a lot of business happening between the buyers and exporters. Now, when we are with the retail chain stores and they are looking at new products, so we again become the influencers for them because we are scouting factories, we are looking at different manufacturing companies, and we see a trend happening around across all factories. There could be some other buyers who are making goods for themselves. We get ton of offer sheets for presentations, discussions happening or among these exporters, or we walk the fair and we see the trend. And we actually then also guide our clients that this is the new trend coming up, and that is where you should be now looking at creating your new collection. So that's why we basically are also influencing the chain stores of where to actually focus on creating or buying products. Now, while we are doing all this, definitely it's our business. We are paid by the clients. We are their eyes and ears. We are their consultants on the ground here. But primarily, the product has to be made by some factory. And unless they are making some product and our buyers are not buying from Indian factories, we don't make money. So we basically become the advocate of the products from India. In my 30 years of experience, many of the customers have asked me, their first question is, I understand you're a sourcing consultant from India. My question to you is, why should I buy from India? I'm pretty much happy with China. I'm pretty much happy with Vietnam or Cambodia or Philippines or maybe Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. Why India? And that is a time when I have to look nationally. I cannot be advocating only one product or one factory or one region. At that time, I am actually playing for my country. I'm pitching for my business for my country. So it's a huge responsibility on at that time when somebody's looking at you. They have $1 million, 2 million, 5 million, $10 million to spend, and they will decide to spend that money in buying product from India based on your state. So this creates an advocacy sort of format for us to understand that let's crack the buyer in their mindset that India is also very much should be in their portfolio. And once they decide that they are going to come to India, then the next step comes whether they want to do it directly or they want to hire a sourcing agent and to help them guide and pretty much manage their supply chain. Now, impact, which is the last wheel of this whole conversation, is what all we have been talking about is production, 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 manufacturing, manufacturing, manufacturing. So when we generate business for ourselves, we have our own staff. We are giving away jobs to people. When we hire when we have a client, primarily dedicated merchants are hired, QAs are hired. So we are giving jobs to the industry. Then the production happens in different factories, because if a customer is now looking at India and he starts giving orders to factories will start hiring people. If they are having a capacity of 60% and I bring in 30% more orders to them, they need to scale up their labors. They need to hire people on the ground. And that entire ecosystem of economy is impacted by what we are doing. If we are bringing one brand to India, they have been buying from any other country and they're looking at around, I have customers who are like doing $15 million in a year. $15 million of business happening in a year pretty much means 80 to 100 factories have to now pitch for business and they get that kind of business. So you can see the chain reaction happening, that you have a lot of people who are getting jobs just because a buying agent, a sourcing consultant could motivate a buyer to look at India and start buying from Indian factories. Next slide, please. So that is why we have shifted our name to from a buying agent to a business ambassador. Agent, we are because paid our service fees in percentage of the volume done, and because of it is for the buying, that's why we have this international eco term called buying agents. Now in India, there are certain industries which also use the same name, but they're not the buying agent, which the international definition of a buying agent is. They are people who are just getting orders procured from some company, given to some company, and then they get a commission. Here in our business, we don't get a commission. We get a service fees for the bouquet of services offered to the buyer, to the client, and that happens they are sitting overseas. That is why we have now identified ourselves. And since we are pretty much, as in the previous slide I've told you, if we majorly impact, influence, and get the business, we are basically selling the India brand. We have called ourselves the business ambassadors. And that is how the Federation of Business Ambassadors becomes FBA. Now, when you say who is a buying agent? A buying agent can represent multiple product categories. It could be specific to textiles. It could be specific to hard goods, furniture, lighting, carpets, but could be multi-product buying agent also. And that is how when we say that a buying agent is meeting a customer somewhere in trade fairs overseas or in their offices, we are not specific to one category or one factory. We are representing a number of sourcing destinations, a number of sourcing cities, a number of manufacturers. Now, if you look at the entire slide, you will see a lot of Export Council logos downstairs. So people who are impacted by us. For example, apparel, Pedexil, CPEC, Cefexil, jewelry, CLE, EPCH, wool, and HEPC. And there are a lot of other export councils who are primarily making handcrafted or labor-intensive product. And that is where we are directly impacting their members by offering business to the council members. Broadly speaking, we have these 18 product categories, which we define as the labor-intensive sector product industry. Now, there's a point where the buyer will say, why should I need a sourcing agent? Why should I need a sourcing consultant? When you're dealing with India or maybe from China, Vietnam, Bangladesh, or any other country, and if you're looking at certain product category which involves handwork, handcraft, or machines used by hand. So there is a human intervention to create a mass production. There is a lot of chances, I would say, high chances of product getting delayed, product getting wrongly made, some quality issues, and then like packaging issues could be there, because most of the things are done pretty much on a customized product based. We are not talking about a TV manufacturing why different models are introduced and they are now, or a car manufacturing. Different models are introduced and they are producing in masses. They have a pretty automated machinery and everything is done. Of course, that is also a lot of hand is involved, but it is called automated. Here on these 18 categories, a lot of things are customized to designs, a lot of handcraft is involved. Machinery which is used done by pretty much by the hand labor, and that is where you need a very consistent supply chain in terms of quality, in terms of your price, in terms of your delivery, in terms of the commitment. That is why we have focused, and our business in these 18 categories adds value to your entire supply chain. So if you fall under these categories, there is a high chance that you would require a service of a local, your arms and ears, a local eyes and ears for you on the ground to make sure that your supplies are completely intact in terms of any risk. Now, FPA works primarily as any federation or an association works is they have a mission and they have a vision. We have a 3G principle where we look for the business growth for our members, we look for business generation for our members, and we look at business grievances for our members. When you talk about business growth, it's all about knowledge, skills. How do you grow your business? How do you become a buying agent or a sourcing consultant? How do you even open a liaison office? We recently have a new member who is now having a Singapore based company to have their India office. And he joined Federation because right from the beginning, you need to have the right contract in place. You would be an employee, you would be a country head of a big brand. They have the resources to create a contract which could be not suitable to you. So how will you take help from someone in India to basically devise a contract or make the amendments in the contract which can also favor you? And it's a win-win situation. Then who will introduce you to somewhere, including how will you open your company? He has been in a buying house for 15 plus years as an employee. He doesn't know how to open a company. He doesn't know what GST is. He doesn't know where to get the IC code, or for example, how to start a company. So those are the people and those are the avenues where we do a lot of meetings, one-on-one meetings, corner meetings, monthly meetings. For example, there could be some GST issues with some buying agents. There could be some taxation issues with buying agents, or there could be some vendor management issues, or within the company you might have some disputes with your employees or contracts with your employees. Anything which can hamper your growth of your business will fall under our first G of business growth. Now, the second G is, it's wrongly mentioned here as grievance. Second G is the generation of business opportunities. Where are the opportunities we can generate for you in terms of getting clients? And hosted by a program, which we're going to talk about soon after this presentation, is the perfect ground where you can get opportunities to grow your business. We are inviting buyers to India with a travel incentive paid to them with the condition that they're going to meet qualified selected buying agents from the list we provide before they can go to factory displays, and pretty much the next 6 days or 5 days they can travel to factories and look at India as a sightseeing. Or vendor credit program is one such platform where you are looking at factories, and based on your knowledge you are also getting a lot of interest from the customers. For example, if you have not seen a factory who does auto components, but now when you are at the federation, we have an auto component company coming at the vendor credit program. You know how auto component industry works, you know one of the vendors, and from that link you can actually get a lot of vendor. Now when you are pitching for business, sometimes there could be an e-commerce seller, he says, oh, I need some motor components, I need some auto components. That is the time when you can say, yes, I know a company and I can help you. So that's how you generate your business opportunity there. Third and not the least is the grievance management. Because you are managing a business for overseas brands, communication becomes a challenge sometimes, and you're literally managing a very big fat event sort of a thing as a purchase order or a production. So there could be a lot of ifs and buts, lot of issues and problems which might result out of a dispute. Buyer might complain, supplier might complain, or both of them are agreeing, and then you might have some problem, or there could be some payment defaults by the customer, or anything which happens and you're stuck there. We have very robust legal desk which can manage all your grievances, whether it's with your exporters, whether it's with your buyers, whether it's between the buying agents. We have certain cases referred to us between buying agent who collaborated and they had a dispute on their service fees, or they had some partnership issues which they could not resolve. We are in the industry for 30, 35 plus years. One of our member is 35 plus years of experience in agencies, which she is managing a legal desk. We understand how business works. So rather than you go and fight in a court, or you pay to the lawyer and hire so many people, and eventually you might not get a favorable result, why don't you come to the community or a federation to at least have a mediation done, where we can see a black and white, we can see who's right, who's wrong. And if you don't like the solution, you always can go to the court. So this is how we primarily are focused on 3G principle. Next, please. Lastly, but not the least, a lot of people have questioned that what does this logo means? So from a distance, it looks like a pair of doves, ushering in harmony and bringing in aspiration to rise above and fly freely. These stars are all our buying agents, because what we are basically in this industry are celebrities. We have, first of all, the insight on what is happening around in the overseas market, because we are directly connected to the office of the buyer. We get a lot of advanced inputs. For example, during the COVID, which I call the great pause, Federation was the first one to even depict what is going to happen as soon as the lockdown started and everything got paused. That's how we started having payment default resolutions. We sent an appeal to the buyers not to cancel orders. And then when the factory started to operate, we had a lot of queries from buyers of how to find what is happening in India. We had a lot of factory tours also. So pretty much when you're looking at a buying agent, they are a sea of knowledge for any exporter or a buyer, because we are looking at from a perspective of a macroscopic level of what can happen next. And the hands represent the industry support, which catapults us in the sky and allow us to leap big. So this is what Federation is. You can join our journey, and Ideation Desk would love to hear from you. If you are a buying agent, if you are looking at becoming a buying agent, reach out to us. We have perfect platform for an ecosystem to create business for yourself, grow your business.